What's up, everybody? We're back. Episode 16, the end of the bench show, where the fans go. I have Pat here with me today. We're going to talk about all of our favorite athletes that are currently playing with a little twist to it. Pat, how's it going, man?
Doing good, buddy. How you been?
You know, as good as I could be.
Mm,
You just saw I spilled water all over my desk
I
and
did.
laptop, so
You got very wet.
that was fun. Work was terrible. The world is in the shitter right now. We're not really going to talk about that all that much. Instead, what we're going to do is we had a very interactive mailbag day yesterday from
That we
our
did.
good friend of the pod, friend of you and me, monthly supporter, Nick Taborski. I was texting him yesterday and I was like, me and Pat don't know what we're going to record about. And he literally sent me 3 mailbag questions in a row, like within 5 minutes. So this episode is produced by Nick Taborski. He won't get paid or anything, but we love him
Yeah, sorry, Taborski.
and we thank him. He like I said, Pat, he sent us 3. One we're just not going to do because it's the most hated athletes, and I feel
Yeah,
like
we could. That'd be fun, but let's show a little love with everything going on. So
yeah, I agree. And he said most hated athletes who've never played for our team, but the more fun way we would have done it is who have played for our team.
oh yeah, that we could go on and on probably about those. But we can go on and on about that topic though, because there's
Yeah.
so many.
But anyway, we're gonna do our favorite current athletes who have never played for our favorite team, and our favorite all-time athlete who've never played for our favorite team. So we're gonna limit it to the NBA, MLB, NHL, and NFL. Pat, let's remind the people, who are your favorite teams? So who are the teams that you have to ignore all the players for?
All right, so I'm just going to speak to the listeners right now, guys. If you know New York sports, you know the winning teams. I don't root for them. Okay, I go the other way. I go with the Mets,
Pause.
the Islanders, the Jets, and the Knicks. So
Yes.
basically, you know how I love disappointment.
Yes. And for those who don't know, I mean, behind me by now, if you've been watching on YouTube, you know I'm a Yankee fan, Celtic fan, Ranger fan, and Jet fan. So that's cool. Me and Pat share the Jets. Pat, I'm
team.
also a very big Duke Blue Devil fan. So
That you are.
And basketball is like my favorite sport. So I made the NBA even harder on myself, and my NBA player could not have also played for Duke.
Oh, okay.
So
all right. You went full out with that one. All right.
I went full out, and I still have like 5 guys written down. I don't know who I'm gonna pick, to be honest.
I mean, I had trouble narrowing it down for both current and all time. Yeah, I hope. Ultimately, I'll just back up what my picks are. They don't have to necessarily be the best players in the league, but guys who I just like in terms of their personality, whether they are star players or up and coming or whatever it is like that. But
Yep.
yeah. So don't look me to take the best player in the league who just hasn't played for my team. I'm looking at all around.
Sorry, Pat.
I don't know how you did it, but
I basically I have a lot of guys written down that are like the top guys that you would think of. But I have deep cut guys. That's who I call them. Like players that like you don't think of when you think of the top players in baseball or basketball. And we're gonna get into this. We struggled both with the NHL, so the NHL is like my I cop out answer kind of with with it.
That's fair.
The NFL, I have a top guy, but not like the face of the league or anything. Like I didn't go Mahomes, spoiler alert. But anyway, Pat, let's enough teasing the fans. Let's get into it. So we're gonna go from the most struggling to the least struggling. So for me, the NHL was by far the biggest challenge. So we're gonna start there. We're gonna go through our 8 guys, and then we're gonna we got a ton of fan interaction, so we're gonna show some love to our fans and read out who they listed as well. But why don't you kick us off with your current NHL player who is not an Islander?
All right. So this is kind of tough for me because, I am an Islander fan, and that's where most of my hockey knowledge comes into play in terms of, growing up and seeing that.
Yeah,
For some who may not know, I did used to play hockey in middle
I
school
didn't
and
know
high
that.
school. Yeah, it was roll hockey.
Oh,
Ice hockey
okay,
takes
yeah.
up a lot of time, but roll hockey, it was still fun. You still get to pay attention to everything. And one guy who I always liked, in terms of the hockey, I played defense. That was
Mm-hmm.
my thing. So I always like to look at defensive players in the league and try and root for them as hard as I could. So I'm gonna pick a guy here who is probably on a Ranger and Islander rival team, but a guy who I like a lot, and that's Zdeno Chara
Wow.
from the Boston Bruins. Now, I believe, if I'm correct, he was drafted by the Islanders, but I don't believe he played a game for them. If I'm correct, I'm just gonna double check
I'm already on
my.
it. I swear to God, Pat, if you fucked it up on the first freaking guy,
He
he
played
played.
one season for them.
No, he didn't. He played multiple seasons for them.
He played one season for the Islanders, dude. Oh no, he did play multiple seasons.
He
All right, so
played.
I had a
Come
second guy
on,
anyways.
Pat.
I had a second guy anyways. But you think of that name, you don't think Islanders though. That's one of
Played
those things.
231 games with them.
Yeah.
Dude.
All right, so then I got another guy for you, another current defenseman who I
man.
like, and that's PK Subban.
Okay.
Right now, I believe he's currently still on the Devils. He's jumped around a little bit, I think, over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
He just seemed, not only is he a very good player, and he just seems like someone who does a lot for his community and everything like that. And I know a lot of people may not like him. I don't know how the rest of the teams or fans perceive him, but I always liked PK Subban ever since he came into the league. I think he's a hard player, and he's a guy who will lead your team, and that's what you kind of want, and especially in a defenseman. I like seeing the defenseman carry the A or even the C on their chest sometimes because I think it's a very tough position. I mean, granted, I only played it very limitedly growing up, but I still always respect defense. So if I'm not going Chara, I'd go PK Subban.
Yeah, and I mean PK Subban married to Lindsey Vonn as well, so that's that's a check in my book too. And yeah, I mean he's a player. He's pretty. I would say he's a polarizing player in the NHL. He's also a good guy. He donated $50,000 to the daughter of George Floyd, so shows his soft spot there. So he didn't start out great, Pat. Not gonna lie.
You know what? It is what it is. At this point, we all work long days, so
yes, we do. Yes,
don't worry. I think my things get a little bit better, so don't worry about that.
It's all right, Pat. I mean,
let's talk about you.
I copped out with mine. I went Ovechkin. So.
Okay, yeah. See, I didn't want to. I like those guys. I'm trying to pick guys who no one would think of like right off the bat.
No.
So you kind of went the easy route there.
Yeah, my current NHL player, I went the easy route because the all-time NHL player took me like fucking forever.
Yeah, I want to hear your all-time. I can't wait to get to that.
But yeah, Ovechkin. I mean, what's there to say? Top 2, top 3 player in the league. Plays hard. Plays as many minutes as possible. Plays both sides of the puck. So he's my guy. I like versatile guys in a sport like hockey. So he's my guy. And we were also joking, before, that since this was submitted by Nick Taborski, we knew that we could not put Sidney Crosby on this list because we did not want to get heckled to no end by Taborski. So.
No, I mean, I'm not even a Crosby guy. I mean, respect, he's a good player and all, but I'm not, the biggest fan of his anyway. So
yeah, I think what we'll do, Pat, is we'll list Taborski's as we go since he submitted the question and he submitted 2 lists with it. So his current hockey player, which we'll have to ask him to elaborate on maybe, is Ryan Miller, who I think is on the Sabres. And this I mean, this was a surprise to me. I thought he was going to go a little more flashy, but Taborski knows more hockey than me and you put together, so I'm sure
Yeah, he does.
sure he has a very good reason for that. But I mean, can't argue with him. Let's just stick with hockey and go all time, Pat. Who do you have all time? And do I have to pull up Hockey Reference for?
No, you don't. Well, yeah, right. Well, I mean,
I might as well.
It was tough. So I kind of had two guys that I remember growing up, like I was always a fan of, and I always liked. And I would have loved to have them on the Islanders at any point, and they weren't, so don't worry. Okay. One was Jerome McGinley.
Oh my God,
Calgary
that's so
Flame.
crazy.
Mhm.
That's who.
And then the
Taborski
other
had.
one, was it really? All right, cool. The other one that I had though was a Teemu Solani.
Okay,
well known when he was the Jet and back in the Mighty Ducks, old school Mighty Ducks, old school Disney logo that I still believe is the best logo in like sports history. I mean, people can fight me on that, but I love that logo.
Top five for sure.
Absolutely. I'd probably go both of those as my all-time favorites. Two guys that, growing up when I started playing, I remember watching them and always, hearing about them. They weren't defensemen, but they were star players on their teams. They were leaders on their teams. And both of them, I don't know if they are both in yet. I'd have to check, but both of them seemed like they are headed or already in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't know if you want to double check it. I didn't see it. I didn't think they were, but I could be wrong.
Is it one of the best? Yeah, again was in the 2020 Hall of Fame class. It looks like. Who was the other guy? Solani.
Teemu Solani. Yeah.
I don't think he's been out long
Finnish
enough.
Flash. I mean, he's been out a decent time. He's been out since 2014.
Oh, really? I feel like it was much more recent. I didn't know how to spell his first name, so this Google search is taking longer. But yeah, I mean, I think it was funny that you had Iginla because I was going through. I mean, we like I told you before, we have like 25 guys from listeners, and before you said Jerome Iginla, there was only one overlap between every single guy that was submitted from our fans. So I thought that was really freaking cool. And I think it's kind of funny you guys overlap on the hockey one. And to answer your question, Teemu Solani is also in the Hall of Fame.
There you go. See,
so there you go.
If they weren't, they damn well should have been. So I'm glad that I know back now that they are in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
My all-time NHL player is Vincent Lecavalier because I played some year of the NHL video game, and I always played as the Lightning for some reason. And I would just dominate with him and St. Louis, and I couldn't pick St. Louis because he had a stint on the Rangers, so I went with Lecavalier. He played 14 years with the team, bounced around a little at the end of his career, and he's second all-time in points for the Lightning with 874. But yeah, I mean that was my guy in video games, and that's kind of why he's on this list, because my hockey knowledge is not strong enough to make like a flashy all-time pick. But I looked up stats, so I hope Taborski's proud of me when he listens.
I'm sure he will be. I'm sure he's very proud of you to begin with, so don't worry about that.
Yes, that's right. What league do you want to go to next? I have the NFL next on my list, but I don't know if you want to go.
Let's do NFL because I know you're the big basketball guy, so we can go that second to last, or if you want to do that last.
That's legitimately how I had it written down.
All right, perfect. So then we'll do NFL.
You want to go with your current? Or you want me to go?
You go with your current first.
All right. So Drew Brees has been in the news today. It's Wednesday, June 3rd, with his comments. I didn't go Drew Brees, but I went to his not even secret weapon, his best weapon, his close to only weapon in Michael Thomas.
Okay.
Pat, I mean, he's like glue. Catches anything thrown his direction. It meshes well with my all-time pick, which was kind of just ironic when I was going through this last night. So I found this stat. He had 185 targets last year. He caught the ball 80.5% of the time. So the next wide receiver closest to him was Keenan Allen. And do you want to guess his percentage, like his catch rate?
What was Thomas's percentage again? I just want to get the number again.
80.5.
I'm going to say Keenan Allen was maybe in high 60s.
69.8.
All right, so I got.
So yeah, I mean, you literally you held on by a tenth of a point.
I was going to say, if I had to pick a specific number, I would have said anywhere between 68 and 70.
Yeah. So 69.8% on 149 was the second closest to Michael Thomas, when he's literally the guy the ball is getting thrown to and you still can't stop him.
He had a hell of a year last year. Hopefully he can capitalize on it going forward. But, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the best receiver in the game. I like players who are just so damn good that it doesn't matter what you do, they're still going to beat you. So that's where I went, and it'll be another common theme when we go to the all-time guy. But who do you have as your current?
So I had two guys that I've always had in the back of my mind, thinking I would love either of these guys to be in my team, and just both of them are stand-up guys, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's J.J. Watt and Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think there's no saying that both of these guys, were, or I'm not gonna say are, because they're both. Watt's not necessarily age; he's just very, been hurt for several years. But Larry Fitzgerald, I think he's entering his age 37 season. Still one of the, continues to be one of the best pass catchers. He may not get as many looks as he once did, but that guy was just flat out incredible. Great leader. It's just, I don't know how anybody in just the National Football League wouldn't say that Larry Fitzgerald is without one of the best guys in the league. Just people, in terms of not even players, people in the league. And the same goes with J.J. Watt. Everything that he's done, everything he did for the city of Houston when the hurricane hit there, everything like that. I mean, both of these guys, stand-up guys, great on the field, even better men off the field. They're two of my favorites currently.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of putting Fitzgerald down here. I to be honest, I totally forgot about the defensive side of the ball when we were doing this. So I'm glad that you mentioned J.J. Watt, because he definitely
How can
belongs.
You forget him though?
I think because there's
so just not a name that pops in right away.
Yeah, because
he is.
Yeah, I mean, there was just so many players when we were doing this that I had to limit it to one side of the ball, in my head, just so I didn't drive myself absolutely crazy doing this. But I like that pick. My all-time guy is Calvin Johnson, which is pretty similar to Michael Thomas.
He was going to be up there. I've always loved Calvin Johnson too, Megatron. He retired so early. I was so upset when I heard that he retired. I'm like, there's no way. He's got to be coming back. He's just got to be taking a year off, and then that was it, man. That was Matt Stafford's number one weapon. I hate the fact that the Lions didn't do a little bit more with that 1-2 connection that they had.
I mean,
that's a great pick.
It was probably Matt Stafford's only real weapon his whole career was Calvin Johnson.
It was. I can't think of any other significant receiving weapon that Stafford has had. I mean, maybe I'm just drawing a blank, but when I think Matt Stafford and the wide receiver that comes up for me is Calvin Johnson. For anybody, it's probably Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you think of Phillip Rivers, you automatically think Antonio Gates, something like that. But yeah, I mean, my quote-unquote justification for Calvin Johnson is just basically what I said about Michael Thomas. He's so good. He was so humble, and you couldn't guard him. You could know the ball was going his way.
Oh yeah.
And that was it. And you would just hope that Matt Stafford made a bad throw, and a terrible throw, because even a bad throw Calvin Johnson could get.
No, even a terrible throw Calvin Johnson get. This throw would have to be like Mitch Trubisky to any of his receivers, and Calvin Johnson.
Would, yeah.
Calvin Johnson might have a shot at catching that.
Mitch Trubisky, maybe who's that dumbass the Jets had drafted in the second round from Penn State, who couldn't throw the ball
Christian
to
Hackenberg.
Yeah, maybe Hackenberg when he was throwing balls to reporters on the sideline.
Yeah,
maybe that was.
Let's not. Come on, we just got off a good draft. I don't want to go backwards. Let's move forward with the Jets and their draft picks, please.
All right. So who's your all-time guy then? Because it sounds like Calvin Johnson was pretty high up there for you.
Yeah, I mean, this was another was tough for me. But there's one guy that I always liked, always respected. and that was Kurt Warner.
Oh, okay. I like
I
that.
mean, the guy went undrafted, ends up playing 12 years, Super Bowl winner,
Mm-hmm.
Pro Football Hall of Fame. The guy just seemed so humble. Like, he wasn't someone who was flashy or anything like that. He was, just a guy who knew what to do on the field. He knew his receivers. His receivers knew him. They meshed together perfectly. He was the quarterback, the leader on that Greatest Show on Turf. The mid to late 90s Rams. You had Marshall Faulk, Corey Holt, Bruce Isaac, all of those, Isaac Bruce, all these guys, and Kurt Warner was there. I remember I did have a Warner jersey when I was a kid too. That was like one of the very first jerseys I remember having. And he ends up going into the Super Bowl, and who does he have as his target? Later on in his career, Larry Fitzgerald. So I like the 1-2 punch with them, and I just respect the hell out of Kurt Warner. I would love for him to been on the Jets at any point in his career. He had the Giants, not the Jets though.
And it's funny you say Kurt Warner, and definitely a good pick. I mean, he's also great in the booth now. I'd kind of like to see him maybe get a shot on Monday Night Football. And he's another guy. He had basically like 2 NFL careers in one. I mean, his run with the Rams and his run with the Cardinals was also nothing to sneeze at. I mean, he had 2. I don't fully remember what he did with the Giants. I feel like he's more well known, nationally as a Ram and Cardinal, but
I think his 1 year with the Giants was like the grooming of Manning.
Oh, okay. So that's
and then it was kind of like he passed the torch on the following season, I believe. I mean,
yeah, no, that sounds right now that you say it.
I think I'm right, but I'm just looking at his career numbers now as a guy who went undrafted. Spent 3 years in I think it was Arena Football or the Canadian Football League, whatever it may be.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, he's Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, 2-time NFL MVP, 4-time Pro Bowl, 2-time first team All Pro. I mean, the guy has numbers that you would never figure. That he looks like he was someone who was taken in one of the early rounds, and he ends up being a guy who was undrafted. It just goes to show you that you don't got to be drafted in a higher round or even drafted at all. As long as you put the effort and you put the work in, you can be a star, and that's what Kurt Warner was late in his career.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Are you ready? Because you texted me last night. You were struggling with the NBA, and you texted me today, still struggling with the NBA. Kind of wanted to write to you, like, bro, you're a Knicks fan. It can't be that hard for you to find a good player that you like. It's not on the Knicks.
But, I mean, here's the thing with it is, for me, the NBA isn't my top sport, clearly. It's baseball and football. And then I put hockey over the NBA. So in terms of basketball, I do, I don't pay as close attention to guys like you and our good buddy Chris Vogel. But I still do pay attention. The guy I picked like him for a different reason than necessarily what he does on the court. And that's Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz. The reason is this dude grew up. He's a diehard Met fan.
Yeah, figures.
His dad, I believe I don't know if it's both his parents or just his dad, works for the Mets. So he grew up going to games and everything like that. And he's constantly on Twitter being like, he's been talking about, the Mets all season long, how he wants baseball to come back and stuff like that too. So he seems like a very personable guy. And this goes to show, NBA guys, how, they market themselves as well as they do. And then you got sports like MLB where they don't do it. So it's good to see a young up-and-coming star in the NBA showing that love. You're able to see it all on Twitter and all that. And he's no slouch either. I mean, he was an all-star this year, I believe it was. And a couple years ago, he won the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. So he's got a ways to go, but, I mean, I think the kid's got something. On top of being, a very personable and likable person. So I'd go with Donovan Mitchell right now.
Yeah, so Donovan Mitchell, Pat, I mean, to give you some basketball knowledge on him, definitely right. He's a good player, good young player for the Utah Jazz. A little underhyped coming into the NBA, and that's because he wasn't really used the right way in Louisville, which is something that their coaches will say too. I mean, that's not me just like talking out of my ass. Like it's them literally saying it. So a lot of people, when the Jazz picked him, they're like, "Oh, I don't know. Like that's kind of a stretch." But the Jazz have also just been very good at making those type of picks. Picking guys that you may not think will be much of anything, and they turn them into great players, which is why I think a member of them joined the Knicks front office this offseason, and that's something that Knick fans should definitely be really excited about. They also want Donovan Mitchell to become a Knick, oddly enough, too, because
hey, bring him back to New York, man.
They could have easily drafted Donovan Mitchell, so the fan base gets on him for that. But I will say that if they took him at their slot, the fans probably would have been like, "Oh, I don't know about Donovan Mitchell there." So it's kind of ironic and funny there. But for me, Pat, I have a few guys written down for the NBA because I just can't. Who do I want to go first? I'll give my main guy first, and that is Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. He is incredible to watch. I urge anyone, whenever they see the Mavericks on TV, like when the NBA comes back for their restart, to watch Luka play and to just simply actually watch him. Like watch the rest of the Mavericks too, that's fine. But really watch Luka, because what he does at such a young age, I mean, it's truly remarkable. He just has such balls for his age coming into the league. He looks at
how old is he? Is he only like 22?
He's super young. I have it up
here.
No, it's okay.
He's young.
He's 21. He just turned 21 in February.
21. Jeez.
I mean, he's amazing. He had an amazing international career before the NBA, where he was playing with the best of the. I mean, he played in the best Euro League there is, to be quite frank with you. But yeah, he looks every superstar, in his face, and he's like, I'm not scared, because he's been playing against grown men since he was like 15 years old. And even like the best of the best in the NBA say like this kid is super special, like just off first glance. And it's his second year in the league. He's only going to get better. The Mavericks traded for him on draft night, so it's probably the best move outside of Dirk Nowitzki that Mark Cuban and co have made. So Luka's like my obvious guy. My deep cut guy is someone I'm sure you've heard of, and that's Lou Williams of the Clippers. So Lou Williams is like the best sixth man in the NBA by far, especially now since Jamal Crawford is not signed by anyone. Lou Williams at any given point can come into a game, go up against any defender, say, "Fuck you, you're not stopping me, and I'm dropping 30 right now." And he won't even break a sweat doing it. Like the analogy I'll give you, Pat, is if he played with Kobe, who we'll also talk about later, Lou Williams would literally go up to Kobe and be like, "Kobe, you missed 5 shots. I'm taking this shot." And he wouldn't be joking either.
That's insane.
He wouldn't be joking. The guy, I mean, he's cool as a cucumber. He's kind of like, he's small for his position, which is another reason why I like him. And he's just a pure scorer and a good shooter, and that's kind of all I have going for me when I step on a basketball court. So Lou Williams is my deep cut guy, but I mean, I gave consideration to so many guys like Clay, because he's my favorite shooter to watch. And obviously I couldn't pick anyone who went to Duke, so my boy JJ Redick was left off, and Tyus Jones. All right, before I get to press, we gotta go to the all-time guy. And who's your all-time NBA? I mean, I think I am fairly confident in that I know yours.
Okay. Well, I mean, I had a few, but it was a lot easier all-time for me than NBA than current, to be honest with you. There's so many all-time guys that immediately come to my head. I mean, obviously, Kobe Bryant is up there. Guy like Vince Carter, I also loved growing up. But here's a guy that you probably wouldn't think of that I do like, and I don't see how anybody could ever hate him. Tim Duncan.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know who you thought I was thinking of, but
Not that.
Tim
I
Tim
definitely
Duncan.
didn't think you were gonna go there.
Well, who did you think I was gonna go with? Let me just go with that.
I thought you were just gonna cop out and say Kobe. To be honest.
No. See, again, I'm not trying to necessarily. I love Kobe. Kobe is probably one of the big reasons I started really outside of maybe like Patrick Ewing or whatever that. Kobe was one of the big reasons I started like paying attention to basketball when I was a kid. I didn't want to do an easy cop out with him. Rest in peace, Kobe. Everyone in the world has gone to practically shit since he left. So I think that's just saying something. But anyways, Tim Duncan would be a guy I've always been a fan of. You look at his career numbers, everything that he's done. 5-time NBA champ, 10-time first team, 15-time All-Star, 2-time MVP. He led. He was the epitome of the San Antonio Spurs. When I think San Antonio Spurs, if I'm not thinking Greg Popovich in terms of coach, I'm thinking of Tim Duncan, who is probably outside of maybe David Robinson, is the Spurs' all-time player. I don't know how you feel about it, but I go Tim Duncan in terms of my all-time favorite player outside of the obvious Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Duncan is definitely an all-time Spur. I don't know the names of other guys who really would belong on that list other than Duncan and Robinson. But I listened to a podcast with Shea Serrano, who's very big in the San Antonio area. And he said it is not as easy as people think. But I don't think he was talking about Tim Duncan. I don't know. I mean, regardless, Pat, Duncan is an amazing pick. He's definitely he's an all-time player, one of the best power forwards, if not the best power forward ever. And I mean, the dude's a winner. I mean, he was Greg Popovich's voice in that locker room. Him, Manu, Tony Parker.
Is too. He still is. I mean, he's right there on the bench next to Popovich. I think in a sense, Popovich is probably grooming him to be the next head coach. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon, but I think he could be a hell of a head coach. I mean, I don't know how well he's done in terms of being an assistant. I believe there were a couple games where Popovich had to not attend or whatever it may have been, and Duncan took over, and the team did very well underneath Duncan's leadership. As they did when he was a player. I'm sure being a coach is hopefully going to be the same thing. So I look forward to seeing how that goes, how his coaching career goes. But I definitely Tim Duncan, outside of Kobe Bryant, is probably my all-time favorite NBA player.
Yeah, they also have Becky Hammon on the staff too, and that's who.
That's right. Yes,
that's who I really want to come after Pop, but it's a story for another day. So yeah, I did put Kobe down on my all-time list just so that we could at least show homage to one of the greatest of all time. And then my real all-time guy is Allen Iverson. He is the only basketball jersey I ever had. I had the white Sixers, like with the basketball looking like a comet logo on it.
I had the same exact jersey, dude.
Everyone had it. Everyone had some version of that Iverson jersey.
I always wanted the blue one, but I could never find the blue one, so I ended up getting the white.
The blue one was the one I played with a lot, like in video games. Like I would either play with the blue or the black. But yeah, AI, undersized guy, which is, there's a theme here, people, for my NBA guys. I like them undersized, just like me. Couldn't handle the ball like AI did, obviously. I was probably a better shooter than him. But Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant get a lot of credit for changing the game of basketball, and very rightfully so. But Allen Iverson also contributed to that as well. Like, you just simply, at his size, did not see people do what AI did. And I think he really gave, similar to, what Steph is doing now, he's giving a lot of people, hope that they can make it to the NBA because he's just a regular sized dude. I don't know what he's listed at, but I'm sure what he's listed at is taller than he actually is.
I think he was like, I'm going to look it up because I don't remember how big AI actually was.
I think he's going to be listed at 6'1", but I would beg to differ that he's like 5'11". But regardless, like
6 foot even, if anything. So
yeah, so
that's how they
right
have
there,
listed.
we'll split the difference there. But yeah, I mean AI to me, one of my favorite guys to watch highlights of, and someone I loved watching growing up, playing with in video games, the whole nine. He is my all-time favorite NBA player that I was alive to actually watch.
Mhm.
So I think that was a caveat that we forgot to mention, Pat. I think it's kind of obvious though.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
the all-time guy is obviously
guys
not
who we've
someone.
seen.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
spoiler alert, guys. We didn't put Babe Ruth down or Mickey Mantle or whoever for our baseball. Unless you did, Pat. I don't know. Unless you're living like your fourth life or something.
I stuck with guys who we have watched or currently watch. So,
Right. So I think.
Do you want to get to that?
Yeah, and I think, Pat, that we can try to guess our MLB guys because
now
it's the sport we talk about the most. So I feel like we could have a half a shot.
I mean, I might have a little trouble with yours, but
I mean, I think I know yours like right away because I think we talked about him last week.
We did. So let's just get this out of the way. Obviously, the obvious answer for both of us here is Mike Trout. I did not go that way. I mean, obviously, Mike Trout is number one on that list. I went with, second on who I would want. So, Scott, who do you think I have as my favorite current player not on my team?
Christian Yelich.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
yes,
that was easy.
Christian Yelich. I mean, what can I say? What can't I say to the guy that I've already said? I mean,
yeah,
he is a stud. I knew he was going to be one years ago when he was in Florida. I said, it's honestly a shame that what happened to the Marlins, with Jose Fernandez's loss, and then they lose Stanton and they trade they trade Yelich and they trade Stanton, they get rid of Ozuna, D. Gordon. That team, if they had stuck together and if Jose Fernandez was around, that team would have been unbelievable if developed the right way. And you just see how all of those guys have gone on, and I mean, Stanton's been hurt, but he's still, the power hitter that he is. Ozuna's been a very good presence in the middle of the orders that he's been in. And Yelich has by far been the best complete player that has left that organization. And there's no doubt in my mind, if I was given the opportunity to have him as my starting right fielder, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's funny because, like, I feel like if that Marlins team stayed together, and I don't know your all-time guy, I'm probably going to struggle guessing that, to be honest. I have an idea, but I don't think it would be out of the realm of possibility to say like a current would be Christian Yelich, and like an all-time would have been Jose Fernandez. Like, for me, I could easily see me putting that down.
If it went down, I mean, it's really unfortunate, but we know.
Yeah.
But I think his death was the downfall of that organization. I think if he didn't pass, that team could have been held together, and they could have done damage in the NL East. But again, it all comes down to the way that they were developed. Yeah, it all came down to the way they were developed. I mean, it was a bunch of young guys, and two of those guys that were on those teams won the MVP in back-to-back years. So
it was G
not
and Yelich, right?
Yeah, it's not crazy to say that team would have been unbelievable. But as we know, it fell apart. Everyone was basically traded, and Yelich is now easily one of the top 5 players in the game, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think you can have an argument against that. So, do you want me to guess your all-time, or you want to guess my current?
I want to guess your current, but it's tough for me.
Shit, dude, I forgot we were supposed to read Taborski's as we were going.
Do you want to go back and read a little bit of Taborski? Do you want to finish off ours first?
No, we'll finish ours off. I'm sorry, Taborski. I love you.
All right, let me ask this. I'm gonna need a hint with yours.
Okay.
National League or American League?
National. I can give you an even bigger hint, but I think then you'd get it.
Mike, give me the bigger hint. I'll see.
He plays for the Mets.
He plays for the Mets. Is it DeGrom?
No.
It's Alonso then.
Who's my favorite rapper, Pat?
Your favorite rapper?
What's a trade that you wrote about on the fucking
Marcus
site?
Stroman.
Marcus Stroman.
Dude, I didn't even think about that for a second. Wow,
he's my number one current guy.
All right.
Loved him. I mean, actually, Pat, to be honest, this may not count because he played baseball at Duke.
Yeah, but you were doing that for basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not like a Duke baseball fan. You're a Duke basketball fan.
No, I don't think anyone is a actual college team's baseball fan unless you live like in the South.
Oh, if only.
But yeah,
baseball down south and out west is unbelievable compared to like what the East Coast schools see. I mean, sports in general, because they get to play it all year round, basically. But
yeah, Stroman's number one for me. Again, you could sense the theme. He's small. He has the height doesn't measure heart company. He showed out in the World Baseball Classic the last time that was.
Great.
Pitches with a ton of swag, doesn't give a fuck about you, messes up with all your timing. He's kind of like ahead of the curve with all that stuff. So Stroman is my number one current guy. But like you said, I could probably rattle off like 6 or 7 other guys too. But Stroman for me is where I'm going to land.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that. That's a good pick. I'm kind of hoping the Mets do something and keep Stroman around long term. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. All right, Pat. So I'm gonna guess your all-time guy.
Okay.
And to be honest, I'm gonna use help from a listener to do this because So Matt DeFranco, one of my good friends, he wrote in to give us his 2 baseball players.
Okay.
And he gave us 2 all-time guys, and one he felt like sacrilegious saying it. And when he said that, I was like, I think that may be Pat's. But so I need to know, is your all-time guy someone you kind of feel like dirty writing down?
No.
As a Met fan?
No, not even.
All right, so then it's not who I. Then
All right, so who did you think it was? I want to hear who.
I was gonna go Chipper Jones. Because I know you like him.
I hated him as a player, but I respected the hell out of him.
Yeah,
for
that's
what he did.
basically what Matt said.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I did think of Chipper. I was thinking, but I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know what? I never necessarily liked him as a player, but I respected the hell out of him.
That's true.
He killed the Mets, and he named his kid after the stadium in which he just demolished us.
Such a fucking savage.
But I respected the hell out of him. He'll always be like my third baseman. I always remember growing up watching. I always remember going to Shea Stadium against Met Braves games and constantly booing him and Andrew Jones and Javi Lopez behind the plate. Like, I remember those days. But no, I would not put him as my all-time favorite.
Dude, what a squad those Braves teams had! My God.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, okay. So I don't have a guess for you then, to be honest, unless you're gonna say Bernie Williams.
No. Again, on a list, but I didn't go Bernie. I do like Bernie though. But my all-time favorite, Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh yeah.
For a guy who did not play on my team, my all-time favorite is hands down Ken Griffey Jr. And I love the fact that him and my all-time favorite net, Mike Piazza, went into the Hall of Fame together. I think there's nothing more perfect than that. And that was the first time I ever went to Cooperstown, actually. The year after the 2 of them got inducted. It was the first time I ever went to Cooperstown as a baseball fan. I was shocked that it took me that long, but I kind of always said to myself, I don't want to get in until a Met gets in. So I was so happy that the 2 of them got in together. Griffey was hands down one of the greatest to step on the field, if you ask me. If injuries didn't hurt him late in his career, he could have been arguably one of the top guys in terms of home runs. He could have beaten out Bonds. You never know. But the injuries hurt him. He was just a stud with the glove. He could run. He just had that swagger that like everybody loved. Like backwards hat, like that was him. Yeah, even I remember when he got inducted, everyone's like, "You gonna wear the backwards hat on your plaque?" And like he's like, "I'd like to, but I don't think it's gonna happen."
Yeah, I don't think they pick, which is kind of weird.
Well, basically, the player doesn't necessarily get to pick anymore, but they do get a little bit of an input on who they want to go in as. But ultimately the Hall gets the choice. But he was a Mariner, hands down. And some say that those late seasons when the Mariners were potentially could have lost, the city of Seattle could have lost the Mariners. He kind of helped bring baseball back into that city. So easily, Ken Griffey Jr. is my all-time favorite player to not play for the New York Mets.
It's a good one. That was an entry from one of our fans that we'll get into later. So Pat, I'm not gonna have you guess because I'm gonna ask you another question. So like in your Met fandom, like all time, like your whole life, who's like the top 5 guys you just couldn't stand, like from another team, like a rival team?
Oh God,
Chipper's obviously on there.
Yeah, Chipper's on there, but I respect the hell out of Chipper. John Rocker, and if anyone remembers him, he was a dirtbag, so don't really care for him. Guys who I constantly hate.
Because I just want to gauge how much this guy is gonna piss you off when I say it.
I mean, not a big Chase Utley fan, obviously.
Same team though. You're close.
Same team.
Yeah, you're pretty close. Played right next to him.
Wait a minute. Is your favorite Jimmy Rollins?
J-Roll, baby. Let's go.
Son of a bitch, man.
Let's get it. I was honestly gonna put Chase Utley down as a joke for you, but I didn't know the kind of rant that would ensue. So I was like, no,
I'm just going to give you a simple rant, seeing as how you kind of brought it up. Yes, what Utley did was dirty. Yes, it was completely, trash baggy, breaking Tejada's leg on that slide. And everyone can continue to hate him as much as they do, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the Mets won. He won that battle, but the Mets won the war because it was the Mets that moved on to the next round in the playoffs and made it to the World Series. So that's how I say. I mean, screw Chase Utley. But I'm kind of over it at this point. I can only imagine what it would have done if it was like a bigger named Met. Like it was like David Wright or someone. Oh my God. It was just Ruben Tejada, a guy that not a lot of people really knew or even liked. So imagine if it was someone who was like beloved by Met fans. He probably wouldn't have made it out of New York the last time he went into Queens.
Yeah, but I didn't go there. I went J-Roll, silky smooth up the middle. Great player, good leadoff man. Always played with him in like MLB games when I did a fantasy draft. Always took J-Roll as my shortstop. And yeah, I mean he was just he was a very good player, Pat, but he was just kind of like an under the radar good player, and that's kind of like how I was for a little bit of my baseball career. So I think I just identify with that kind of skill set. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool, honestly, that we only said 2 guys that overlapped with who the fans gave us.
There's a lot of choices that people can pick from. I mean,
yeah.
When you really think about it, most people probably think like, oh, it's such an easy question. But when you really think about it, you start getting different answers.
Yeah, it's easy if you want to just cop out every single time.
Yeah.
Like if you want to go Ovechkin, Gretzky, Mahomes, Peyton Manning, MJ, LeBron James, Mike Trout, and Mickey Mantle. If you want to do something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking.
You got to really think about these things. Like.
Yeah. But let's get into the fans and what they gave. So I put this on Instagram last night, and Pat, I mean, look, we ask people for mailbags all the time. We ask them to interact with us, know what they think. we'll put stories up, and sometimes it goes, by the wayside, which is fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on now, especially. But I think we really hit something here because people went off on this.
It's a
We
good
got
topic, man. It was a good topic.
we got 25 names from people.
Okay.
So let's finish off Taborski because
Yes,
he was the one
please.
who gave the questions. Yeah. So we already said Ryan Miller and Jerome McGinley for the NHL. So his current NFL player is the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu.
Like that.
Which is, I know since we both like Jamal Adams, we both love Tyrann Mathieu. So that's that. His all-time favorite NFL player, which I think he struggled with this because I would be
It was tough.
I'd be very surprised if this is a true answer. I'm not going to lie. He said Marshawn Lynch. Like, I don't know. I'm calling him a fraud.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Respect to Lynch. I don't know. I mean, maybe he was just kind of like, I kind of give up. I don't know.
Maybe.
I guess we'll have to ask him and find out. It's a decent pick, but I feel like you could have gone so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're looking at running backs who haven't played for your team. And there's so many other ones that you could have thought of.
But maybe he just really.
Lynch.
We know Taborski loves chicken, and Marshawn Lynch tells everyone to take care of your chicken. So maybe that's why. Who knows?
Who knows?
For the NBA, he copped out. He went Giannis Antetokounmpo. For those who are not familiar,
he's not a big basketball guy though, Taborski. So.
No, but yeah, and
what's his all time? Let's just get to the all time.
Do you want to guess his all time? I
mean,
if
you say the team, I'd probably get it.
So he's a really big hockey fan, Taborski. So he picked the Canadian Steve Nash as his. All
right, no, I like that pick. No, that's a good pick.
No,
that pick.
It's a great pick, but you could just see, his hockey was going off on him. So I got to rep Canada.
I respect that pick, though. Steve Nash, that's a good pick.
Steve Nash, and it's local flavor, too, because he's the godfather of R.J. Barrett, who's on the Knicks. So a little local flavor there. He agreed with you with Yelich for his current baseball. And his all-time baseball, which you're not going to have any argument here with him, is Vlad Guerrero Sr.
No argument. No argument at all.
I think
nothing to argue.
I think, when you think of kids playing baseball, like when we were growing up, people would imitate Ken Griffey's swing, Gary Sheffield's pre-swing, or whatever you want to call it.
I still do it. Are you kidding me? I still do it.
Jeff Bagwell's stance, and when your teammate throws a ball into your coach that he doesn't catch, you automatically swing at it like Vladdy because he swings at anything. So he's an all-time guy, especially for our generation. So
absolutely. And now the younger kids hopefully get to watch his son
do the same exact thing.
Hopefully. I mean, we didn't really touch on what's going on in the baseball world right now, but let's get through the happy times with this very great topic.
Yeah. So let's go to Taborski's best friend, John, too. Mm-hmm. I think we both know John gave us two guys, a baseball and a basketball. So where do you want to go first?
Let's go baseball.
All right. His baseball guy, I knew he was going to say this for some reason. A very underrated player, Michael Young.
Oh, that's a hell of a selection.
Great selection. I mean, he played literally everywhere on the.
That was John.
Right? Yeah, that
was John. John, God bless you. That's a hell of a selection. I should have thought of Michael Young. Glad someone did. I totally forgot about him, but yeah, Michael Young was a stud. I mean, not into the sense of a superstar, but he was a solid player that you would want on your team. Just a grinder. I love Michael Young.
He DM'd us on Instagram, said Michael Young (parentheses Rangers), and I was like, yeah, thanks. I Front of Sports podcast, kind of know who Michael Young is, but it's all good. I was surprised he didn't pick a hockey player though, to be honest, but
maybe some people just have that.
Yeah, but when I think John
had that connection with it. True.
And his basketball guy, I think we all know who it is. It's an all-timer. I think we know who it is.
Jordan.
Derek Fisher. It's it's legit.
Oh, I
People
forgot he constantly talks about Derek Fisher. I totally forgot.
people aren't gonna understand why this is funny to
No.
me and Pat. Well, no, they're gonna think it's funny because they're like Derek Fisher, like Jesus Christ. Like,
But they
what
won't
the hell
understand
is
the backstory as to why he's the selection.
the only basketball game John has ever watched revolved around Derek Fisher hitting a game winner. And he was probably pretty drunk when he watched it and said, okay, I like that guy. And he, to his credit, stuck with it all these years. So
Yeah, he didn't like front run and be like, oh, I don't even care about him anymore. He was
Yeah.
like Derek Fisher, greatest player ever. So
Yeah.
God bless.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I definitely didn't think we would be talking about Derek Fisher when I put that post up, but here we are. We're going to leave good friend of the show and Chris Perkowski. We're going to save him for last because he gave quite a list. He had a lot of fun. He listed 11 guys, so we're going to leave him for last. So we're going to go Tyler Cassidy, friend of the show, has obviously hosted episodes with me. His favorite NBA guy who I knew, he did a current guy, and he gave us Steph Curry.
Okay.
I mean, no argument. One of the best guys in the league, both player and just person. He's the baby-faced assassin. He was up there for like my current NBA player too, to be honest. So, and that's kind of why I added Clay in there because me and Cass that's who we are. Although I think it's kind of weird. Like Cassidy's a terrible shooter, so I don't know why he picked Steph Curry. I guess he's just fantasizing. Can't wait for the text I get later when he hears that. His favorite baseball player, Pat, you're gonna like this one. We can almost count it as all time because he's not signed still for some unknown reason to me. Yasiel Puig.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm shocked. I forgot that he hasn't still signed. I mean, not shocked in the current, environment that MLB is currently in, but no one touched him, and he's still a fairly young dude. All right. I like that pick.
And dude, I mean, COVID, so, and Puig likes to lick things, so, it's a tough time for him.
Sure, forgot about that, yeah. But he only licks things that are his, though, so it's fine.
That's true.
As long as no one else touches it, it's fine.
And then Matt DeFranco wrote in, we already touched on Chipper Jones, and I'm going to read you what else he wrote. He said, yeah, I got to go with this guy because he's a real idol for the big guys out there. And he went Prince Fielder.
I knew the second you said big guys, I'm like, Prince Fielder. I'm like, yes. Man, I love Prince, too. It was a shame the way his career had to end with the neck injuries, but that dude can mash, man. Like, unbelievable.
Speaking of injuries, before we get the perks list, did you see that Archer is getting thoracic outlet syndrome surgery?
He already had the surgery, I believe. So he's considered out
very recently, right?
Yeah, I think
fucking insane.
Yesterday or today. So he's out for this pending season, and the possibility of returning in 2021. So
that's heartbreaking. He had I was looking forward to him bouncing back this year, to be honest, and he had such a good spring training, people around the Pirates were saying. But anyway, let's get to Chris Perkowski, friend of the show. I think one of the best episodes we did was when Perkowski came on. Gotten a lot of compliments about him as a guest, super knowledgeable about anything and can talk literally about anything.
That he can.
And he ate this up. So he gave the obvious one, he gave Mike Trout.
Of course.
He gave Griffey like you did.
Of course.
He hit on MJ. We're gonna gloss over that, obviously, for obvious reasons. Aaron Rodgers, which was cool.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the best quarterbacks in the league still, although he's maybe falling down the list, but still right up there. Good leader.
Still very good.
Good. I mean, he's a funny guy too, so it's I like Aaron Rodgers. I like that pick. He went with Chipper Jones, just like Matt. And then this guy, it's not a deep cut guy, Pat, but it's one that you wouldn't necessarily think of. He went Charles Woodson.
Yeah, I wouldn't think Woodson, but I like that pick.
That's a hell of a pick. I mean, great
is he
player.
the last defensive player to win the Heisman, if I'm not mistaken?
I think so.
I think he is, right? Like,
Yeah.
Because nowadays it goes to a quarterback or a running back.
Yeah, it's
like,
a quarterback award.
I remember years ago with Manti Te'o was a finalist. And I'm like, I kind of wanted him to win, so we could see him and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
But that didn't come true, just much like his relationship. God bless you, Manti. I don't even know where the fuck you play now, but whatever.
I think he's still on the Saints, isn't he? Or is he not?
I have no idea, dude. I remember last seeing him on the Saints, but I know he was drafted by the Chargers. And it's like, I feel like that happens so often. You see a guy who's like a finalist for the Heisman or just one of the top players in college, and then you just lose track of him once he hits the pros. It's tough.
I think he's unsigned at the moment.
He might be. But going back to the pick, Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
Great pick. That's a great pick, actually. I like that pick.
And then he went Terrell Owens, who I think would be a great guy for a 30 for 30 on, since ESPN seems to be having a field day with those at this time.
Give ESPN a call.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Bristol tomorrow and leverage my following and say it's a really popular demand amongst the end of the bench family, and we would really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll go well. I'll be on hold for quite a while probably, but it'll go well. And then, similar to our batting stance conversation, you went Jeff Bagwell.
Yes.
I mean, one of the all-time great Astros.
That was just he straight up got all of his power from that squad.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, he literally didn't move. It was just straight out, and then ball come, and then, like, a little tap, and just turn of the hips. Like, everything was just – that guy.
Yeah. Whatever works, man. Whatever works. For hockey, he went Super Mario Lemieux.
Like it.
I'm going to say these out of order. He went Max Scherzer of the Nationals. One of the top 5 pitchers in baseball. Is that fair to say at this time? Arguably
Absolutely.
5?
I think there's no question that he is, but that's
yeah. I mean, it depends. It depends on the day. And his last guy is someone that I really wanted to put down. I just couldn't because it was such a nightmare when you had to face him that I couldn't put him on my all-time list. I'm sure you feel the same way.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Roy Halladay.
Yes, it is.
You saw him on the mound, and you knew, yes, rest in peace. You saw him on the mound, and you knew your team was not going to score a lot that day.
No.
And if you had a shitty pitcher facing him, you might as well just fucking give up because he was amazing.
He was the definition of an ace his entire career.
Yeah.
From Toronto to Philly, he was exactly what you want in a guy to take the ball once every 5 days. And there's no doubt about that. He deserved that call at Cooperstown, if you ask me. He was one of the most dominant pitchers of his time. And that, backed up by the numbers that he had, anyone who could fight him being in the Hall of Fame, look at the numbers of some other guys. Like, he deserved to be there. So don't think he just got in because, the tragedy had struck at like the right time or whatever. That man was getting in regardless. He was a beast.
He's probably the greatest pitcher I've ever seen, like, with my eyes. Like, if I just had to say it off the top, like maybe him and Pedro. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I remember. I saw Pedro late when he was a Met. And later in his career. But I remember also seeing Halladay pitch once. He was lights out. I don't remember his exact line, but I remember when he played, the Mets weren't touching nothing. Yeah. Just like with Halladay, like I was listening to RTC2 a few weeks ago. They had AJ Burnett on, and AJ Burnett was like, one of the greatest parts about playing in Toronto was like I got to watch Roy Halladay every single day.
It's and like you go from teammate to fan when he was on the mound. So
it's incredible. I mean, the way his pitches moved, he diced up the whole plate. Like, just couldn't touch him. And I think that's a really good last player to end it with.
I think so too.
This was a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, Pat, we're no strangers to everything going on with, COVID, all the hate in the world right now. We wanted to give this episode a fun flavor, get people involved, have them think about, something else just for, 5 minutes to, have some
Yeah.
laughs. I think we accomplished that. And I wanted a huge thank you to, John, Toporski, Perkowski, Cassidy, and Matt for, interacting. And, we hope that, more questions come in from the fans. Cause I mean, honestly, Pat, made our life a whole lot easier because like I said, we had no idea what we were going to do. And Toporski just produced the whole fucking episode. So, I mean,
Thank
that's
you,
the power.
Toporski.
That's the power these listeners have. That's the power you guys all have. We will literally talk about anything. It will be literally anything. But we answered a mailbag of what is the meaning of life. So like
We will.
we're not scared to answer any
Please.
question you guys have.
Please send in those questions. We will be sure to talk about them.
Yep. And with that, Pat, we're gonna wrap it up here. So I want to thank you all for listening. If you could rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen or watch, it would really help us out. Follow us on Instagram at _end of the bench. I put up some videos today and yesterday, or not yesterday, Monday. Just to break down a little stuff, what's going on that we didn't cover in this episode. I'm going to continue to do that. So, Instagram may be the only place you guys can find it, and Twitter for that matter at DEOTB. So hop on there, give us a follow, and enjoy all the rest of the content. I'm going to be a monthly supporter. The support link is in the description. 50% of your donation goes to No Kid Hungry, and you will get a t-shirt. Pat, we contributed to 610 meals last month. We're at over 1,000 for the year, and we've only been going for 2 months, so that's pretty good.
Let's keep it going. Let's get those numbers up.
Yeah, I think we'll hit our goal of 5,000. That would mean a lot to me, and we're going to continue to try to find other ways to get involved as well. If listeners have anything they want us to pay attention to, we'll keep it open. But Pat, thank you very much for joining us, and
It's always a pleasure.
look forward to speak to you again, man. Take it easy.
Take care, bud.